It's more like 7 seconds.
We are recording now. Hey, welcome to the Tavern Talks podcast, where three geeky-ass boys get together and we shoot the breeze about movies, games, media, D&D. You know the deal by now, it's us. I'm Sam, I'm on Twitch as It's Waffles Royale, and that's pretty much it for my socials, so I'm now going to pass off to my fellow co-host.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Martin. Twitter is True Golden Eagle and Instagram is Golden Eagle 200. I'm not active on them, but feel free to at least, if you want to look at them. That's it.
And I am Nick. I am at Twitch with unsalted underscore Bork. There we go, I got it out. Clap for me. Everyone clap. Thank you.
Woo!
It's funny how long it's taken me to just realise that. I know it's unsalted, but I'm like, it's pork. It's supposed to be salted pork, but then it's unsalted pork. And there's Bork for some reason.
It's Bork because of the Shiba Inu meme.
Ah,
and how,
okay.
Yeah.
They
They said Bork instead of Bark, you know. You know the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alright.
so diving into the big news, Summer Gaming Events list. PlayStation State of Play is happening today when this podcast is out, June the 2nd. We're coming in a day early. Whoo, look at that. On the heels of that news, Sony has confirmed a new Horizon game coming to PSVR 2 entitled Horizon Call of the Mountain. And if we get any more information about that in the coming days, weeks, months, years, however long, we will let you know. And of course, it's that time of year, gentlemen, where E3 usually happens, and of course, it's not happening this year. It's meant to come out next year, apparently, but that's speculation. We deal in absolutes. We are the Sith. So, the following events are happening sort of to fill the gap. We've got the Summer Games Fest on June the 9th. The lineup includes 2K, Activision, Atlas, Bandai Namco, Bloober Team, Capcom, Coffee Stain, Deep Silver, Devolver Digital, Digital Extremes, Dotemu, EA, Epic Games, Focus Entertainment, Frost Giant Studios, Level Infinite, Mediatonic, MiHoYo, Netflix,
MiHoYo.
PlayStation, Raw Fury, Samsung, Sega, Square Enix, Skybound Games, Steam, Studio MDHR, Tribeca Festival, Warner Brothers Games, and Xbox, and that is a mouthful.
Yep.
Coming up
Is there
next,
anything you guys are hoping to see? Honestly, literally all that I care about is Capcom and Resident Evil DLC. I mean, some Fable stuff would be nice.
yes,
But we'll see.
it would be nice to get some Fable stuff. I definitely need that Resident Evil DLC fix. Like, I really need it.
Some like Resident Evil 4 remake stuff would be nice as well.
Yeah, because I know they brought that VR version for it.
Yeah, which is
And that was cool.
really
It's like,
fucking good.
yeah, so like to kind of put more into this whole remix that they're doing, it'd be great to see that. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I heard that MiHoYo is actually going to be actually making an announcement for another game. A friend of mine always plays a lot of Genshin and talks to me about a lot about MiHoYo stuff. So I know that it should be excited for that. A lot of people will, because they have a lot of plans now. They have money to do that. I generally don't know who I'm looking forward to. There's always so many good games that get announced and ones that from things you've never heard of. You know, I'm looking for the underdogs. I'm looking for the underdogs that are going to come out of there from studios you wouldn't expect to make these games and just kind of blow something away with the performance. That's what I'm looking out for. That's what I'm excited to see. There's got to be one.
What I really would like to see, because I see Deep Silver's slipped into that lineup, I want to see something, or just even a whisper about Dead Island 2. Because
Yeah, that could be interesting. I'd play Dead Island 2 for sure. But I also feel like it's dead.
they're really gonna have to. Well, at this point, they're gonna have to rebuild it from the ground up. Like, it's skipped its entire generation window because it was meant to come out for the PlayStation 4 back in like what? It was announced in 2014. And then we're now in 2022, and I know it's had a really troubled development path. But I'm hoping. I'm just hoping Deep Silver throw a little something out there, and that's really how that lineup. Apart from obviously Resident Evil and just all the stuff we've already covered. I'm hoping that Dead Island 2 just gets a little, even just a confirmation that it's there's going to be
Something's
more news.
happening with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming up next, June the 10th, Netflix Geeked Week. And the focus of that is gaming. Now, I'm going
This
to
is the first Netflix geeked thing.
Is it?
Because I've never heard of this
I've never
shit.
heard of it either.
It only seems recently that Netflix, over the last year, have moved into, gaming. And I know they've done a lot of acquisitions, hiring developers and, taking on to, build their own team focused on developing games and trying to find a way to incorporate that into their subscription packages. I know they've sort of tested the waters with it now with Android. I know it's mobile games, but, they've sort of done stuff tied into their franchises like Stranger Things. And that's about the only one I can remember off the top of my head, I'll be completely honest.
I'm sure there was a
Yeah, there was one last year of Geeked Week. But,
okay. Was anything announced?
I'm trying to find that out at the moment, if there was anything. Let's see, projects recap. Day 1, they did Army of Thieves release window announced, Shadow and Bone. First look at Jason Momoa action film Sweet Girl. Things like that, yeah.
Never heard of any of that stuff.
And things, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think I'll have to dive into that one and have a look at it and report back, because it does seem quite curious and interesting, to be honest now.
Yep.
Also, on June the 10th, the Tribeca Games Spotlight. Now, the only thing I've ever known Tribeca for is the film festival. So again, this feels new to me. I mean, it's new to me, it might have existed already for previous years or incarnations, so don't quote me on it, anyone. But having not knowing anything about Tribeca, really, I wouldn't want to comment on anything.
Yeah.
So, June the 10th, Tribeca Games Spotlight. On June the 11th, Future Game Show.
Not sure what that is. Is that referring to future games, like games in the future? Or is future like a company or whatever?
So, let me load up gamesradar.com. Future Game Show 2022. Everything you need to know. Games run after flagship games. Returns on this time. Everything you need to know about the event. You're going to show Tech Holiday, but the Summer Gaming Showcase season is entering full swing. Future Games Show is Games Radar's flagship gaming showcase and is rapidly building reputation as one of the best ways. Blah blah. Yeah, but basically it's their thing. So
it's their own standalone.
Yeah, it's a standalone thing that seems to be where they are talking about the future games that are coming out.
Yes,
that's what it's called, Future Games.
Fair enough.
That's fair. Coming up June the 12th, Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. I know I'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah.
That's... I mean... Don't get me wrong, I'm a PlayStation man, but let's be honest, Xbox was my first. So... I'd say that. I'd say for gaming, more as a teenager and an adult, when the games sort of got to the 360 era, that was, my first dive in. So I will definitely be paying attention to that. And, again, Xbox, I don't know why, I'm hoping something Fable related, maybe, possibly, hopefully. If not, I might riot this year. I will stage a one-man riot on Reddit.
I definitely want to see more. Fable was... I run it. Me and my brother went down and rented it from Blockbusters back in the game. In the Blockbuster, was it Game Station? I think.
Yeah.
They had that in there, and we rented it from them. Because my brother turned and I was like, "This looks good," so we're like, "Sure," and it was just absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
So having that, and then I didn't fully enjoy Fable 2 and 3 as much as 1, but they've had a long time for it all and a lot of changes. I want to see more, and I want to go back into the universe again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm excited to see.
Yes. It's the anticipation for Fable is making me want to just dust off the previous games. Well, not all of them within reason. You're never going to get me to go near the journey.
Yeah, I didn't
We
even
don't
look at
talk
that.
about the journey.
The journeys like that is like the we don't talk about that around here.
Yeah. I forget it exists even. I completely forget. I can think of Fable 1, 2, and 3 and like, yes, those are the Fables.
Yeah. Oh yes. God, I'd sooner have fonder memories of the like mobile like game they made to go with Fable 3, that Fable Kingmaker,
Yeah.
than I would Fable the Journey.
Honestly, even like fucking Fable 2 pub games, which was like it was kind of not exactly a demo, it was a pre-game for Fable 2 where you could like play these pub games and make money, essentially, which would then be carried over into Fable 2
Yeah.
when you finally get there. And I made so much fucking money on that thing that by the time Fable 2 came out, I was just loaded.
Nice.
You're like
It wasn't good, but I have more fond memories of that than I do of Fable the fucking Journey.
Yeah.
Fable the Journey was not everything's a zinger, not everything's a hit, and that shows it. And last on this list, June the 12th, PC Gaming Show. Haven't the foggiest what that is, but
I assume Steam are going to be there. They were in the lineup.
yeah.
Although I don't really know what Steam will have to say, because it's not like Steam itself makes games.
There's a
They make
Valve, isn't
hardware
it?
of it.
Like,
Yeah, Valve owns Steam, but like it would surely say Valve there if they had like some game to show off.
according to PCGamingShow.com, I see Sega and Square Enix in here, and I don't know of any other companies. But just for the sake, oh no, those are the sponsors, so they probably would have. So it says here 2022 sponsors. So sponsors of it are All In Games, Compass Data Centers, Frontier, Frozen District, iBuyPower, Iceberg Interactive, Ionlands, I think, Kepler, Ravenscourt, Prime Matter, Manor, Modus, Raven Age, Sega, Shiro Games, Square Enix, Wonder People, Tiny Build, and Tripwire. So I guess like, did Square Enix get bought out? Isn't that just happened recently?
Yeah.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. So like, I wonder if that company is going to have like an announcement that could come into. If they're a sponsor, like they have access to put in whatever games they want to talk about. You know. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if they have Sega and that.
Yeah.
I'll probably jump in.
It's just yeah. No, I think Steam would definitely. I think they'd probably also give some insights like to the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
since that's a product. I mean, it would just be more funnier if like our Lord and Savior Gabe Newell came out and just all the lights go off, a giant light orange free appears on the screen, and he comes out and sweating, and he goes free, and like the crowd's all going wild, and then he just goes free skins for Team Fortress 2 and just drops the mic and walks out.
More so, yeah.
Everyone's just like traumatized.
People would riot. People would break down and cry over it all. And that's the one thing about like Half-Life 3 is that it would never, even if it happened, it would never live up. No matter what they did.
Yeah.
Nope.
It'd never live up.
Won't live up to the hype.
No, it
Well,
wouldn't.
that's a shame, but it's how it is. But yeah, those are the essentially pretty much a week's worth of gaming related events, and nice seemingly slotting in the to fill the gap of E3's absence this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So that
basically,
is the Summer Game Fest, which is starting on June the 9th and going through to June the 12th, and it will include all of those companies that we listed previously.
Yeah.
yes. So from that big hefty chunk of big news, we're going to steer, as always, into what have you been playing / watching avenue. So I'll kick this one off.
What was the theme song again?
What? Oh, we're making it up differently. It triggers like what you gonna do, and what you've been playing / watching avenue. Do. Woo! I really should record these, but I'm no fucking genius. So it was a weird one this week. But I'll break it down individually, and I know we also played some games together as a group yesterday. Actually, we had a bit of a LAN party, which was
We had a slumber party.
We did, and me and Martin stayed up till 5 a.m. talking like teenagers. It was
We're too old for that shit now.
Yeah,
I was told the only reason I stood up is because I had indigestion and couldn't sleep. So I'm just dying on the couch and had to stay up through necessity to keep talking.
It's funny because we have some drugs in the cabinet that absolutely could have helped with that.
Oh yeah, could have done, but they were never offered.
No. I went into that house, I felt youthful, I felt good. It was like, I felt raring, full of energy. As soon as I got in that taxi and left, the first thing that went, my back started twinging, and I was like, yeah, reality's now come back to me.
Yeah.
That KFC is coming back to you.
Yeah, I really wanted to just turn the taxi on, knock on the door, and say, can I just please stay here another day, because I can't face reality yet. But anyway, I'm diverting now. Let's get back on course.
Hey.
Slap myself on the hand for that one. That actually hurt. Anyway, so I, along with you two, I was playing Battlefront 2.
Hell yeah.
Earth Defense Force 5, which
Hell yeah.
I still fucking love EDF. I also, for about an hour with Martin on his own, later on in the evening, played a game called Agony. While Martin was in agony, and trust me, it was agony. But
I think we should start with EDF 5 if you.
Yeah.
So we did 5 and then go into agony then.
Yeah.
So as we've been saying for the past, since we started the podcast, kind of.
Yeah, if not the second episode.
Yeah, we've been slowly chipping away at EDF 4.1. Which is a good game. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good game, I've said before. I'll say again. And we decided, while these two were over with Sam's PS5 and my extra PS4 and all this, we decided to basically have an old school LAN party where Sam was on one of my monitors, I was on my monitor, Martin was on the TV, all in the same room. And we played some EDF 5. I figured I would show them a taste of what is to come when we finally finish 4.1. So I'm curious what you both thought of it.
I loved it.
What did you think of the new parts of it? I know we didn't really explore changing classes all that much, so you didn't see the rewards of unlocking stuff for every single class whenever you do a mission. But what about the stuff the changes to the classes? Being able to change your jetpack, for example, with the wing diver, etc.
Yeah, I'll go first then. I only played the wing diver, and I played the wing diver for all of 4.1. I liked the fact that I could have upgrades to the actual glider. It made it a lot better to know, okay, I know that I start adding in a lot more variety as it came along, because there were parts of how much it would charge versus how much the capacity was.
Yeah. And
how long it take for the emergency thing to recharge when you hit the emergency time. That was different than normal recharge time. Little things like that. So it seemed. So I looked at that and I thought that was really cool. So I thought later on it's going to add more variety, so I can focus on what I want and build my weapons around that as well.
It does.
Some weapons, there was one weapon I had that I tried that I could not fully charge because I did not have the capacity.
Yeah.
So it only got up to maybe 4/5 of the way up, and then I had to just shoot the thing, and I had no energy left. So I definitely liked that change. I liked the fact that I can now dodge in mid-air. It is so useful. I can dodge not on the ground. I can dodge in mid-air. And it barely costs any fuel. I think it's 1 fuel or energy or something.
Yeah, it really is good to keep you in the air. If you fly really high up and then just keep repeatedly dodging back and forth, you can stay in the air and barely lose any fuel.
Yeah. It was.
You don't really gain any fuel, but you barely lose it.
Yeah, it's a good way just to stay up there for as long as kind of possible, dancing around a bit if I had to.
Yeah.
And a great way to get away from things if I have to. There were so many times I've seen EDF 4.1 where I can't get away from things.
Yeah.
So, or I have to just fly up and hope that I clear the distance while flying up to then start going.
Yeah.
So you have to time it that way. But now I can dodge and just start flying. I don't have as much thrust taking off. I've noticed it's slower. But since I can dodge, it's not too much of an issue. I just have to play it that particular way.
Yeah.
So I really like all those changes for all that. The only thing at the moment that I don't like for the change is the way that some of the weapons are working now. Is I have to charge it up first loads, and then use all the fuel or energy to do that, and then it will fire all the capacity out in like however it goes, and then I have to. What are you saying?
There are some weapons that do just have like a quote unquote magazine, and then you reload that and whatnot.
Yeah, that's like the
4.1.
Yeah, there's like the Lancer. Stats is the exact same.
Yeah.
Like things like that. But the one that I was always using, that was shooting the electric everywhere, I have to charge that and then shoot it. It makes it more balanced because the wing diver was ridiculous. Now they already lowered the health of the wing diver to make it more balanced, so you can't just go through the whole thing without an issue. But it's now I have to now charge the thing and use it all this particular way. So I do like that in a way because it makes it more balanced. I don't feel as overpowered, but I liked feeling overpowered. And that's the part that I don't like, but I completely understand why they did it. So it's a good change.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot more to it now that I'm like, I'll enjoy both in their own ways. They changed the song. I just remembered that they changed the song, and I don't like the new one. It feels uninspired.
It's grown on me, but it's nowhere near as good as the 4.1 song.
No, that is the disappointment of the day.
Yeah,
that's the disappointment of my entire existence to know that that's not the song anymore. I don't even have the option for the old one. This new one exists, and that's it. Like I need the mod community to come in and put it in for me. Give me the old song. Okay.
What you do is you just pull up a YouTube link in the background and put the old song on repeat.
Yep.
And how about you, Sam? What did you think of... We basically played like 5 or 6 missions, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I think you changed your class the most of us.
You fenced the first one, yeah.
I started as a fencer and then remembered after a very, very, I guess, sizable absence of playing as a fencer why I stopped playing as one. Because they're just too slow and they don't fit with my playstyle, so I immediately jumped into the Ranger. But what I found nice was, as I was unlocking stuff for the Ranger, I even said to you at one point in the list, I was like, why is there different colours for each thing?
Yep.
And you was like, that you're unlocking stuff for other classes, and I could see some Fencer stuff pop up, and I thought, well, that's nice. If I decided to ever swap class or I wanted a bit of a change, I'm not going in empty-handed.
Yes, 100%.
I'm going, and I liked that, and
yeah,
there was graphical improvements as well, which is always a welcome. We understand why EDF isn't graphically intense, because, I mean, your console computer, whatever you play it on, would just fucking go nuclear.
Yeah, even with how it looks now, there's like so much shit on screen that the frame rate will drop a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember if I explained it before, but on EDF 4.1 for the listeners, you basically choose your class, and then there will be drops throughout the level where like you can pick up weapon crates and armor. The weapon crates will give you a random weapon for your class at the end, and the armor will give you, well, maximum health essentially, but it's only for that class.
Yeah.
So if you make your way through 4.1 for X amount of missions, and then you hit a brick wall where you realize, oh, I kind of need to be a different class for this, or something like that. Everything's doable on every class, obviously, but like, you just might not be able to get this one thing down. You are going to start with absolutely nothing in that class, and barely any health. So you'd essentially have to go back through the game and then complete it up to that point again with that different class. Whereas with EDF 5, each pickup gives you a random weapon for a random class, and armor pickups give you armor for every class. So you are constantly upgrading every single class. But also it's not spread out enough that it feels like your current class is barely getting upgraded as you're going through the game. It feels like everything's getting equally upgraded, and it's fair and balanced, which is a vast improvement, if you ask me.
No, I agree.
I agree.
Having that change is so much more useful to know that actually I'm able, because we're like 200 missions in. I feel like on EDF 4.1. It feels like it. I don't know where we are. I think we remember that like 40 or something, maybe 60. But we're at the stage where I'm stuck. I like my class, but if I did not, I would not be enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Because I would be stuck and have to go all the way back to the start. To play through missions I've already done is the thing. To get there, just to possibly get to the point where I don't like that class either. Now, you don't get as many weapons. Like, I'll get like 8 for the wing diver and maybe like 3 for the others. But it's still such a significant improvement. Even the armor thing is the big thing. Because you can go with the base weapons. You know, and it's not going to be too much of an issue. You only take a couple of missions or something.
Yeah.
You know, if you had to go back at all, you don't have to go back maybe, like if you're on 60 missions and go back 5 missions or so. It won't make a huge difference, you know, to get the weapons you need.
Yes.
It won't make the huge thing of going all the way back to the beginning. So it's a significant improvement that, changes everything. Makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
There's also a nice thing for completionists like myself and Martin, where on EDF 4.1, you would choose a level and choose a difficulty for that level. And when you finish that level on that difficulty, it gives you like a star, essentially a check mark per level, per difficulty, per class. Whereas on EDF 5, it will give you that star for every difficulty below, including the one that you chose, every difficulty below that. So it's easier to get the maximum completion, basically.
Yeah.
There's no more like having to complete every single mission. I think it's like, I looked it up at one point. You have to do like 2,700 and something odd missions. That's how many times you need to do these missions because of like having to do it on every difficulty, every class, every mission, basically, which is just an absolute fucking piss take. But yeah, they changed that as well to make that more, to make that easier.
Yeah.
It's good improvements overall, definitely.
It's a good game, and I'm excited for when we do plough through the rest of EDF 4.1 to jump in and tackle EDF 5. Like,
hopefully we can get it fairly cheap.
We'll definitely we'll manage somehow.
I'm gonna load up Steam actually and then take a look at the price.
But yeah,
on to the next one then, I guess. Yeah,
I played Agony as well with you, Martin. It's like I said, describe it as literal agony. It's not a good game at all. It's
didn't you got it on sale, right? For $1.99, $1.50 was it? Like
I just remember we were scrolling through the game store, both a bit. I know, not both a bit like you. Obviously, weren't feeling great. I was just like, keep a distraction going. Just keep it like that. Keep a distraction going until one of us petered out, and well, we know how that went. So I saw it, and I was like, £1.78, I think. So I was like, oh, I'm going to buy that. I've always heard of it. I've seen of it. I don't know anything about it though.
It's a full impulse buy.
Yes, full impulse buy. Yeah. It's literally just. It seems to be like a first-person walking simulator with a few little mechanics in like possessing other people or demons, and you're basically in hell.
Yeah. So the game premise is like you start off in hell, and you start off like you walked into this room and you had to end up going and getting like hearts from things. Like you end up grabbing this bunny, you punched it in the chest and pulled it out. And it's like, oh, this is disgusting. So you go over and like you put it on this weighing scale, And you had to then eventually find a way through, but there's no markers, there's no direction, there's no quest. If you miss a bit of dialogue, you're screwed. I wouldn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You have to basically then start aimlessly wandering around. Maybe there was a way to figure it out, but generally, if one of us missed something, the other one heard it, so we didn't have to look for like a quest journal.
Yeah.
So I can't say if there was or not, but yeah, it's kind of weird, and there's a lot of like really weird characters and things there, but no, there weren't any memorable characters. There were just some weird NPCs that kind of stuck around for a bit.
Yeah.
During the bit that we played. You could set on fire and set some things on fire, but it was mainly only a couple of things. It felt like an indie game, very much so.
It was.
But I liked the premise of it. I wish it had a really huge budget and with a really, really like experienced team, because like it wasn't that bad. You know, it was just not as well executed as it could have been. You know, give it to another team, and they would have smashed out the park, because it was great. Because the thing of possessing people was when you died, like the body that you were playing as died, you then got to go and you were in a spirit form for like, I don't know, I think like 15 seconds or something, and you just go find another body. So there was like this big saw trap at the time that you tried to crawl under at the time, but it still caught you anyway. But it was instant death, pretty much. Just like, oh, okay, well that's fine. But you could go possess a body on the other side of it. Yes. So it's a really interesting mechanic to advance the level that way and leaving your body behind to go to the other part.
Yeah.
And all the bodies look different. At one point, you were this naked woman when you were walking around.
Yeah, I was like,
it was weird.
I was like, what's going on here? Because it was like you had a limit of like, when you died, you did become a spirit, and you could possess what they classed as like, well, other vessels.
Yeah.
So there was like anything. There was from like. Basically, it's people of hell. It wasn't specifically one like type of character. Like there was different. There was even like demons, like lesser-minded demons, as they call them, where you could possess them. But you only had so long to possess something to carry on before your spirit diminished, and then it was game over. And then I was wandering a bit, and I couldn't find anybody. And then I possessed the first character I saw in the split second. I was about to perma-die, and it ended up being this naked woman. It was weird, and I'm pretty sure we turned it off pretty much straight after that, because I was like, yeah, this is just getting too...
Yeah, we had to go and keep finding hearts, because there was this wall of hands sticking out between it, blocking off this whole doorway. And you gave one of them a heart, and they just clutched in your hand, so you knew you had to go find it, but you had to go find another 4, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was either 3 or 4, and like I remember looking at it like, I don't want to walk around for this long when nothing interesting enough is happening.
That sounds like tedious.
Yeah, it was mainly because it wasn't it looked visually interesting. It actually looks pretty good. I would say the visuals for it on the style is very like. Imagine if someone like remade the Daedric realm from Oblivion.
Oh god!
Like if you made a modern looking version of that. And really went a bit more into the like weird kind of almost Ridley Scott kind of vibe for it. Like you would hit that style and it would look great. So it did, but it just wasn't interesting enough to walk around in. It lost its charm after a few minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like Oblivion.
Yeah, like
like
the gates of Oblivion.
I don't mean the game Oblivion. I mean specifically like the Oblivion gates in Oblivion.
Yeah, in the gates of Oblivion. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah. Oblivion's great. The gates of Oblivion are a different story.
Basically, an environment can look good, but it'll only take it so far. And that was proof of it.
Yeah, so we can't speak on the story. It could have got very, very interesting later and build up, but there wasn't any character to talk to, really. One person jumped out of through the wall and grabbed you, and you set him on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even catch what he said because it was shocking for a second, and that was about it. Yeah. So I can't speak for the story or how it gets later, but for the first section, it didn't grip me enough in that time to warrant me wanting to keep playing it. Unfortunately,
yeah, it was. We definitely knew when to call time on it. I may torture myself at some point and go and actually play it with a keen eye for attention, but who knows?
If you do, let me know how it goes. Yeah, because that'd be interesting to see. Then, like, if it's a bit longer, if it does get better, I'd love if it did. More interesting mechanics and interesting things to do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was only like £2.
Yeah, it wasn't a big thing.
That's
Yeah.
why it was just a pure curiosity buy. I was like, this is suitable to do this.
Yeah, it's worth the risk. It's worth it for a couple of quid. Worth the risk to even try for it someone else. You know.
Yeah, definitely. We also together played Battlefront. Back to the three of us, we played Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Yep.
I love that game. It's aged
It-
so well.
It is a good game. I said this last week, but I'm going to say it again. Fuck all of you. It is a good game, and it was always a good game. Just because it had microtransaction shit does not make it bad. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't understand that beginning part, but we'd be saying the same thing as last week if we went into it again.
Yeah.
It's a nice game. It's something you can just pick up. Like I've played it a lot, but I could have a couple of games in it. I'm like, you know what? It still plays well. It still handles well.
Yeah.
There's no like you can go back to older games, like we'll talk about in the player's choice, and it's like how did people play this even back then?
Yep.
But it's still like now it just still plays well.
Yeah.
And you can go through. The guns still work properly. Everything works properly. The guns feel balanced. You play the role that you choose.
And it looks and sounds so good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but the sounds of Star Wars and like the looks of it are so good and iconic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the TIE Fighter sounds.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they nailed the sound design for it.
Yeah.
So Sound Power is a great sounds, but in the game they took it enough to give that depth as well for it all.
Yeah.
Even having the battles of all the blaster fires, having the new actual game technology where everything has distance properly and reverberation depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
They nailed a lot of that. Like props to the team that did it 'cause it's great. Yeah, it's still a fun game to play. I don't play it for very often. If when I do play it, before I'm like I've done it again, I'm done. I'm walk away again. But I'll never say it's bad. Definitely.
No.
And last on my list in particular, I know a lot of this was a group input, but this was, well, I had good things to say about this next game, and then I've immediately stricken everything from public record of what I've said because I delved into it a bit further, and it is a complete fucking mess. And that is Diablo Immortal.
More like Diablo suck you dry.
Yeah, but Blizzard, back when the game was announced, what, don't people have mobile phones? Blizzard, when the game is released, what, don't you have wallets? That's what it feels like. You literally, it starts off as your fairly, to me anyway, simple run-of-the-mill Diablo game, you know, play a bit of a tutorial, learn as you go, level up, and you think to yourself, actually, this is nice. That's where my praise for it came in. Then I started to delve a little bit further, and I started to look around online.
I will say, before we get into the negative stuff, because there's plenty of that, it does have character creation, like appearance editing. Like you can change the size of your forehead and all of that shit. Whereas like previous Diablo games have not had that. On previous Diablo games, you'd basically be playing male or female of all of these classes, and that's it. There you go for it. Whereas now you can like change your hairstyle, change the color of your hair, change like markings on your body. You can change the size of your head, your jaw width, and all of that stuff. So that is a nice change, and I hope Diablo 4 has something like that.
Yes. Agreed.
Anyway, onto the bad shit.
Because there's a lot more bad than good, which is unfortunate. But I guess it was one of them we couldn't see it coming. So, like I say, as I said, it started off as a fair, like, run-of-the-mill Diablo game. Pick your class. The new addition, as you've quite rightly pointed out, Nick, of character customization, which was nice. It was nice. It did make it feel as if you was making the character your own.
Yeah.
But after the tutorial, I thought it's going to have monetization. All mobile games do. And then I decided to do a dungeon. Played through the dungeon, it was nice again. I thought, maybe there is going to be a chance for people who don't want to part with money, to play this game normally. What's the one thing you wait for at the end of every dungeon in a Diablo game? Or any just sort of dungeon crawling game like that?
Like
Loot.
a nice reward, a nice solid reward.
Yeah, nice solid loot. Pat on the back, thank you. No. Diablo Immortal and the Overlords at Blizzard, come at me Blizzard, I don't care. They decide to give you an opportunity. And you're thinking, what is this opportunity? They give you the opportunity to buy your rewards with real world money. Yep, that's right. They fucking slap a microtransaction at the end. You want your loot? Pay us 89p.
Wait, so it's not even extra loot, it's just your loot in general. So you will get nothing if you don't buy.
Basically, well, the dungeon I did basically slapped me with a, here's your chance to get this. Obviously, you do have pickups doing a dungeon, like you might kill an enemy and they might drop some loot. Yes, fine. But that big, chunky reward at the end, that usually would help you ascend the levels and, you're going to be able to become more powerful. Yeah.
What's the point in even finishing a dungeon then?
I'm
just going to kill the first few enemies, leave, come back and kill the first few ones again if you can get the same tier loot anyway.
Yeah. But, so yeah, it's a very money-grabbing, pay-to-win, aggressive form of monetization.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
I feel like we should have expected it, though.
Yeah.
Mobile game and all.
Yeah. But what makes me laugh more is they've also got the goal to bring it to PC as well.
Yeah.
I
will say it does have cross progression, which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't like fucking. It's not like it forgives the mobile monetization aspects of it, but having cross progression is nice.
Yeah, cross progression, nice, monetization sucks. But yeah, that's it's a letdown. It's Diablo Immortal. I'm sure it'll find a crowd. I'm sure people will enjoy it, but I'm also sure people will pay through the nose to play it.
Yeah,
and that's a shame. But you do whatever you desire. It's your own personal choice. And that pretty much wraps up what I've been playing / watching this week. Actually, no lie, but we'll hop into let Martin cover it. But one of the things Martin watched me was all there present. But that, as far as like games for me, that covers me. So
nice.
I'll let you take over mine because I've said way too much so far.
Yeah, and generally this week, like my week has been very busy. I haven't managed to like really play any game with anyone.
I feel like you say that every week.
Because that's just the way life is at the moment. Later on it'll be different. But like I did obviously a little bit of Resi 6. I did a bit more Grounded today. But I told Matty today, I'm like, I'm done with Grounded. He started a new set and he ended up getting like to where it's like, it's better when you get these certain items. So you can go fight the spiders properly. It's like, okay, cool, I'll do that then. Sure, let's jump in for a second. Jumped in, and there we go, the clubs. The fights with the spiders did not go well. Like you said they would. But it was still like a bit better, but like after I'd gone to an area, I'm like, okay, I'm done. So like there's not worth talking about with these games. Close to like getting Resident Evil 6 finished though, which is gonna be great because I can just like every now and again jump in by myself. Get limited ammo, do all that stuff. It's gonna be great. But yeah, so in terms of watching though, watched it yesterday with everyone. Game of Thrones. I watched the first 3 episodes. There will be spoilers for the first 3 episodes that we're going to be discussing because it's been out for so long. It's probably okay.
There will be timestamps down in the comments if you wish to avoid the spoilers for Game of Thrones. If you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
But plan on doing like I did for a very long time. I was always put off because of what people told me about it. But I don't know how much I want to go into it with the podcast in terms of what I was told. Because it's adult themes.
Let's also give a bit of a trigger warning.
Trigger warning? Okay.
Yeah. How do we word this without saying the word?
Yeah, so like essentially I was always told this is how I'd explain to other people. When I was told about Game of Thrones, I'd go, oh, what's Game of Thrones like? I'd immediately be told it's very graphic. And which it is graphic, because there's a lot of like like adult action
And viscera and
with a lot of swords. It's brutal action when you're trying to describe the most crazy thing you've seen.
Yeah.
But then there was other parts where people turn and say, and it was basically a non-consensual action between a man and a woman that's generally perpetrated towards women. That we know what we're talking about. Generally, it happens to both.
Everyone knows. Yeah,
everyone knows what we're talking about at this stage. And I was always told it has that, and it's graphic. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to see this then. I don't want to see this thing then. I don't want to watch it when it's apparently really graphic and terrible. And I don't want to see like when it's like you're being forced and they're yelling no and don't and all this other stuff like people experiencing in real life. I don't want to see this put on the screen in front of me because it just annoys me and pisses me off about it. But I thought, you know what, like I talked to my brother Brian, I talked to the people, and like actually it said that it wasn't like that. That it wasn't bad. I'm like, okay. I feel like people just put the term graphic and thingy together because watching it, it wasn't. All that happened was someone was put into an arranged marriage essentially with this person, and the part that people were talking about was he takes her up on the side of this cliff and starts undressing her, and she's upset about it. But she's just kind of looking away from him and just like upset about the fact. It seems upset about the fact that she's in this arranged marriage that she has no control over, and it felt more about her situation in the entire thing more than what was happening. When you're looking at the character, you're looking at her brother manipulating her through the whole thing. So it wasn't like that at all. And there was obviously a big scene later, but like it wasn't like, it never felt like that. If someone told me about it, I wouldn't have even described it to someone like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt completely different. So if you're put off in that particular way, as someone myself who is put off by that sort of thing, it's not like that. It's actually then worth giving it a go from what I saw. But I liked it. I did like the first Game of Thrones. The first 3 episodes. To clarify, I didn't like what was happening before, but I liked the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. That's what I liked. But it was cool. I liked. Obviously, we got introduced to all the Starks and everything. We got introduced to all his sons. I think that was the only thing that put me off slightly. Was just simply by the fact that there were so many characters to know so quickly, and they're all brown-haired white people. So it's very difficult. Like, which is this character again? I know he's the son of this person. I know he's the son of Sean Bean, but I forget his name. I forget this person's name. Like, I just know the kids because they look vastly different. Yeah. It was brown-haired boy, brown-haired girl, and ginger-haired girl.
Yeah, and they all...
and there was always the same males. Like, you have to really be good at recognizing faces.
Yeah, they all seemed to have like some form of like Yorkshire accent.
Yeah, and I like that. Like, growing up around us, it's great. So that was the only part that I was put off by. Is like you learn all about the Starks. Ned Stark, his wife, his 5 kids, these other 2 girls, and then you learn about the Lannisters and the king, and then his partner and the other Lannister's sister, and then the Lannister's son, and then this other character who's like the wolf hound person, gets called Hound, and like there's so many characters to learn in the space of like 1 episode. They do it well. There's no weird tropes. That's why I quite like is that they have a short time to introduce these characters, and there's nothing weird about them being introduced. There's nothing like weird tropes for it all. They're introduced in quite a natural way.
Yeah.
So I did like all of that. That's the part that was struggling for me to properly like follow along was like, who's this character and who's the relationship between this? It's usually quite spelled out for you.
Yeah.
But it's not in this stage. But I definitely liked it. I liked the political side. I liked the whole side of the defending against what we call the Frosties. Because the White Walkers.
Yeah, the White Walkers.
Yeah, they were the White Walkers, and I couldn't remember the name at the time. And I just remembered, like, I called them the Frost People. And it became a big joke that now they're called the Frosties. Because that's what I'm going to call them from now on. So I learned about the White Walkers. So I like about the people that dress in black, and then they go out for like a month out in the back to, fight these White Walkers and stuff. And defend the land. And the whole thing is that winter's coming, and it's basically making it cold enough where they can go down past the wall and actually invade the realm. Yes. So we have that overlooming threat that the Lannisters don't seem to even care about. Like you had Peter Dinklage, whose character's name I forget.
Tyrion.
Tyrion. But he's a Lannister, and he didn't believe him. He was like, "It's all made up." I think he said, didn't he? Like talking to an actual dude, he was like, "I think you're all making it up. I feel like there's just the wildlings you got to worry about, and that's it."
Yeah.
So like I like that side of people because it's been so long. People don't really care. People don't really believe it. People don't see a threat because these people that are dressing in black all the time are doing their job. They're holding it back so people don't have to see it.
Yeah.
So now we're getting this whole side of things. So it's cool to see all the other stuff. And now we had the assassination attempt from the boy, because one of the Stark's kids, he, in terms of the spoilers, he was always a climber. He climbed up the tower doing this and this. And one time he climbed the tower to see, I think, his father leaving. And he climbed up the tower and saw two of the Lannisters, who were siblings, going at it in the tower, in an adult way. So basically,
they were doing the sex.
They were fucking.
They were doing the deed. They were doing the deed. I want to keep language down, but they were doing the deed. And yeah, he ended up going like, "Oh, things I do for love," and pushed the kid off the side of the tower. It was obviously was going to do something to him. It was obviously was going to throw him, but the kid obviously was just, young, naive, like 10-year-old or whatever he was. Yeah, so but I liked the fact that there's a lot more of these political games. There's a lot more people are willing to go to extreme lengths to protect their identity. Because we saw that when the little rich Ponce kid, the blonde-haired one, who was like the king's, he came in and like went after Arya Stark, and then the butcher's kid, and all this other stuff, and tried to was scarring him across his face. Then the direwolf attacked him. There was all kinds of things that was really interesting in the show, and there was a lot more than political side of it where everyone was lying. No one wanted to show otherwise, even at a young age. Everyone wanted to save face in that way, and wanted quote unquote justice for how they thought they were wronged. I liked that. It's definitely written. What's the word I'm looking for? It's basically written as a very old time, almost like a Witcher setting, on like Lord of the Rings setting, things like that. Typical medieval setting. But I like, obviously, because it's called Game of Thrones, I think he picked a good time because there's a lot more political side of things with the show than just the brutal killing. When you talk to people about it, they always say, "Oh, it's just full of nudity. It's full of everyone doing it all the time, and that's about it." It's a very gory violence. And it's like, there's some gory violence, and there's, quite a bit of nudity, but it's not that bad. It's something that it's people giving into their base urge, desires, and it sets the tone for the show. It's not unnecessary amount, like a lot of people make it out to be. It's something that sets the tone and sets the visuals to showcase a time that they're living in. That everyone's given to the primal urges and desires, to where you see it, then it reflected that way in the political structure. Because we found out about one of the Lannisters essentially backstabbed the old king as well, but we don't really know the situation of why it happened. It was kind of hinted at, where apparently the last words of the king before he was stabbed in the back was "burn them all." So it's who was he talking about when he said "burn them all"? I don't know. So there's a lot more political agenda to it for a lot of people people trying to get power, people trying to control each other, and push whatever agenda they want to push. So it's piqued my interest. I like to see more because there's not any huge tropes. It seems quite well written at the moment and acted out. So yeah, I was enjoying it. But I watched the first 2 episodes yesterday, and I would recommend it to people at least to give it a go. Give it a go, see what you think. Yeah, that's all I have to say on it, really.
Don't watch the last season though.
That's what people say.
I'm so happy to get somebody else into Game of Thrones. Because I remember back in the day that when around season 3-ish, where all these what's the word for it? Not rumors, but speculation, I guess, as to who Jon Snow's parents are and who is the Mad King and all of this shit. When it was all circulating and so big, that was the best time for Game of Thrones, to be a Game of Thrones fan. And now going back and kind of watching it through your lens, through fresh eyes, is basically taking me back to that time, which is lovely.
Yeah. Because everything that happens. I know a couple of spoilers for later things I'm not going to talk about, but yeah, it's same as when you watch Attack on Titan, and you're getting Sam to watch some of it. When you see that, it's you're looking at it, what the? Then when you just can't say anything, you just got to sit there and go, "Yes, that's what I thought when I watched it."
You'd occasionally make a comment, and I'd just smile to myself, or look at Sam or something like that, and Yeah, I'm definitely at some point. If you are down for it, I do want to get you to watch more of it because I know you prefer to watch your things with like other people.
Yes.
So even if it's like over Discord or something, I think we need to sit down and watch some more.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to book in sometimes.
I would be.
I'm always usually a Friday night because I'm always just kind of tired and finished with work at that point.
Yeah.
This
So yeah, that sounds good.
this experience yesterday was brilliant. The same like you said, Nick. I had this like really warm feeling of watching Martin watch it.
It just took me back to like all the speculating with like my friend Josh, who we watched it religiously together, and yeah, all the YouTube videos and stuff about who could his parents be and all this stuff. It's
That's probably because there was Jon Snow, isn't it? And I'm like, who could his mother be?
yeah.
Because he's supposed to basically not be the is Ned Stark's son, but not from the from his wife.
Yeah,
like,
so
could it be
when
this other
Ned
person
Stark
that was-
like went off to war with his best friend Robert, and then came back, I think he said a year later, 2 years
Yes.
later, and had fucking someone else's kid and no sign of the mother. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
And we don't even know, like, technically as well, is it even his goddamn kid? For all I know, he could have just found the child abandoned and was like, I will take him as my own.
I mean, it does tell him you are my blood.
Yeah, but it's different saying it, you know, and not actually being true. It could be that, you know, you can't take everything at face value. People lie all the time.
True.
You know? But yeah, like, there's a lot of interesting, like, who could the parents be? Who could this part be? And, I like that. There's a lot of open-ended questions.
Yeah.
For it all, and that's like it's enough to where it's not overwhelming because you only find out maybe one open-ended question per character.
Yeah.
So every time you look at that one character, this is the part that's really delicate balance that they've found. Is you look at a character and you know this is Jon Snow. We don't know who his mother is, and he wants to prove himself in battle. That's all we need to know about him.
Yeah.
Move to the next character. You know, Ned Stark wants a quiet life, but still serves the king like religiously, but is friend enough to where he's kind of, you know, has a bit more ground and play on for it.
Yeah.
But like we know his character, next character. And so when you look at him, you're very, very distinctive. Like this is what his motivations are, and this is what he's doing.
They very well do like a dump of information, but also having it be a drip feed. They do that really fucking well.
Yeah. That's what makes it really great writing compared to a lot of shows.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it the most. Is simply that. Like it's overwhelming to have this many characters. I can't remember people's names. But when I look at them, I recognize the face and I'm like, that's who they are and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to go for. And you can look at other parts later as you start remembering. Like even like little parts that have been drip fed as well about like Daenerys' like brother. Like he seems to be wanting to get control over all of they're not the Wild Walkers, what are they even called? The tribal warriors. The Dothraki. He seems to almost want to use Daenerys to kind of fuse the houses together and try usurp control over them almost. That's the intention I get from him. And I don't know if it was even explicitly stated or not. But that's the intention I get from him to want to do that because he's very much a little spoiled brat and very much wants to dominate and control.
Yeah,
hence
he's wanting the Dothraki to go across the Narrow Sea so he can take over what he sees as his throne.
Yes.
Which is currently what Robert Baratheon, the big fat king, he's the king of.
That he sits on, yeah. So yeah, it's I think we'll move on from Game of Thrones here, but it's otherwise we'll become a Game of Thrones podcast. But
I mean,
definitely,
that's such a bad thing.
Yeah,
that sounds like the opposite of a problem. But
we can talk about more when we watch more. But for now, yeah, it's they do well at introducing the characters and giving their motivations.
Yeah,
and boom, next character. What's their motivations? What do they want to achieve in life?
Yeah,
and where did they come from? Next one, and then we start learning about the families, and you're learning about what they grew up like. That started twisting their motivations. So you start seeing like, okay, all these other Lannisters act like this, but this one, Peter Dinklage, Daenerys, what's his name?
Tyrion.
You mentioned it a second. Tyrion. I know it began with the T.
Tyrion.
He acts differently, but it's because of this reason.
Yeah.
You know, because he's a dwarf, and he was then shut down by his family because he was a dwarf. He's only alive because he was he's the Queen's brother, I think.
All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.
Is what he said. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like you learn that's why he's a
Jon
different monster.
Because Jon Snow basically, because I can't remember the full conversation because I'm a bit bad like that. Is when Jon Snow was basically essentially saying to Tyrion, "What do you know about being a bastard?"
Yeah.
And Tyrion summed it up perfectly. It was like, all dwarves are bastards in the father's eyes. And it sort of just showed that stark difference between...
It was him basically saying that, like, I've been treated like shit my entire life because of how I look, without him, like, going all fucking anime and explaining that exactly word for word.
Yeah. I give it the whole monologue of it all.
Yeah, he put it basically into a very condensed but very powerful turn of words.
Yeah,
which is what I like about Tyrion. He's kind of don't get me wrong. He's very blunt with stuff. He can be very crude with stuff with his ways so far, but he also can be quite poetic with the stuff he says.
Yeah, he's got the smarts of all the Lannisters. Cersei got the looks. Jaime's got the skill. He got the smarts. And I feel like they characterize and show that very well.
Yeah, definitely. And he acts so different from the other Lannisters.
Yeah,
and you know that's because of his experiences. Instead of having everything gifted to him, he was the run of the lair essentially, and he had to work for it.
Yeah,
it's like, how can you work for it when you're not physically stronger than the rest of them? You can't be. When you're not, you can't be physically skilled with a sword as much as them because you always have the low ground. Everyone has the high ground above you. Isn't it though? Like using a sword, and it's like you could, using a giant ass claymore, 4 foot long sword or whatever. Like a sword that's taller than you, you're never gonna have that reach.
Yeah.
You will never be able to outreach somebody who can move faster than you and take you down that way. So how did he rise up above all these people who were doing these things?
Yeah,
his intelligence. He had to get there, through survivability, and it's reflected by how he speaks, like we're talking about. Yeah. So they've characterized people well in a very realistic way at the moment. Everyone's motivations make sense. How they act makes sense.
Yeah.
From just a little bit that we've been told about, like all these 20-odd characters that have been introduced to.
Yeah, and there's so many like names being thrown out there.
I can't remember any of them, except for Ned because it was such an odd name, and Jon Snow because I heard his name before.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah,
I know like one or two. I think one's called Brandon. I think.
Yeah, that is the little boy that was pushed.
Yes, okay. I remember because it was mentioned like in the 3rd episode. We had to like, tell Brandon that I miss him, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's the name I got, and I tried to remember it.
It feels like names are said naturally.
Yes.
Like it's not like every scene where somebody turns up, the name is said, because that's not how fucking real life works.
Yeah.
Unless I'm trying to get your attention, or I'm talking about you, I'm not going to say your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
If anything, I'll just call you dickhead.
Yeah.
It's one thing that they've done really well is that generally every single new character gets introduced into a show. Someone will go, who is that? Oh, that's this person. He once did this and this thing, and that did this and this. You'll like him. Or you
Let me
like
tell
him.
you how important or not important he is.
Yeah. Let me tell you everything about them. I might just do that now to confuse people. When they're in a room, I might just I'll pick a random name. I'll be like, oh, hi, Ryan. So then, Ryan is getting a drink.
This becomes the fucking Stanley Parable. You become his narrator.
Ryan is now carrying a bucket and is employee number 427. What?
Ryan is uncomfortable. His name has been mentioned so much.
Ryan is now running away from me. I am pursuing him. Come back, Ryan.
But yeah, we're definitely going to sit Martin down at some point and get him to finish Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess let's move on.
Yes.
Oh, wait, let's move on to me, actually.
Yes.
What have I been playing / watching? Well, most of my shit has been we touched on it. EDF, Battlefront, Game of Thrones. I've been playing a little bit more of V Rising with my brother, which is the, isometric vampire survival game And in fact, even earlier today, he texted me asking if I feel like I'm falling off of V Rising, and I was like, "Yep, 100%." It feels like it's there's no. Oh God, I'm bad at explaining things, but it doesn't feel like I'm progressing. So I mentioned last time that essentially you're like crafting the same weapons, kind of like Minecraft style, where it's essentially just a color change. Every tool and weapon looks the same, but it's a color change. But it unlocks the ability to now you can mine iron. Now you can mine diamond with this iron. It is basically that, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it at all. It never feels like I'm getting stronger. I've upgraded my armor like 3 times at this point. I feel like I'm doing the same amount of damage and taking the same amount of damage.
Yeah.
And at this point, the vampire aspect just feels like filler. It feels like it's funny because I kind of defended the vampire aspect last time, but now I'm very much not. It feels like the vampire thing was an afterthought. They built like a survival game, a mediocre survival game, honestly, and then they were just like, right, this needs a gimmick. You're a vampire.
Yeah.
So suddenly the tedium of the sun comes along and carrying silver and all of this stuff, and it's just not. It's not for me. I'm sure for somebody, it's got good reviews on Steam, but yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, a lot of people do like it, and it was being talked about even last time we talked about it. That a lot of people like his things, and it's some people are okay without a progression. Some people are okay to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
I think that's where it's going, because it is hard to get balance in the game, isn't it? Because you want to have harder enemies, but you want the player to obviously upgrade them and do more damage. So you kind of stick them. Sometimes you can have this loop where you're doing more damage, but it never feels like it because every enemy is now harder.
Yeah, I think was it Oblivion that had that issue where like enemies scaled to your strength or your level, so you were never roaming into an area where everything was piss easy to kill. Everything was just always like moderate.
And the moment you hit like level 21, like everything then could have Daedric armor.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, best armor in the game, and you got a random bandit who's like, give me your gold because I'm dying of hunger. And there's like with a big Daedric chest piece, like, dude, sell your chest piece.
Yeah.
That's like 3,000 gold. You could buy a house with that thing. You know?
But it also does the survival thing that a few survival games do, where everything you can build is a preset. So there's no like free-form building, like with Minecraft, where you can make your house look like whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
But with this, the walls always look the exact same. The doorways always look the exact same. You might get like slight variations on the skin, but with like a Minecraft, you can make a secret door, or you can have double doors, or you can make a crazy like airlock system if you want. Whereas this is just, here's a gate, deal with it.
Yeah. Is it listed as like a sandbox game, or is it just listed as survival? I'm curious how they advertise it.
No idea.
Yeah, because a lot of time when it comes to like survival games, it is just simply like Grounded, where it's you have one grass wall, you know, and that's the part that you can really put up, and you have grass roof. There's a variation of enemy, you could put a window in them.
Yeah, I think that's my problem. Like, Minecraft has ruined me for other survival games because everything is because Minecraft is a really good fucking game, it turns out. But also, everything is so free to build your way. You're not restricted in that way.
You can let your creativity come through.
Yeah,
where it's
exactly.
really difficult in a game where there's like presets that come through. It's like, oh, I'm stuck with this particular room.
Yeah, maybe you can make like a flaccid dick, and that's how your base looks, but that's it. Whereas in Minecraft, you can you can create an atomically correct flaccid dick, and you can live in that shit.
And enjoy it. Like, of course, there are better houses to build, but
Oh yeah, somebody always builds a dirt hut, and they're
Yeah.
happy with that.
exactly, they're happy with that. And the thing is, like, and you're not penalised for that.
Yeah.
No,
A lot of survival games, like, they penalise you for, like, oh, well, these walls are nowhere strong, so they're going to come hit that wall and they take it down. And once you have to get to, to stone, then iron gates and
yeah,
all this other stuff. So eventually, everyone's base looks the same because they want it to be the best.
yeah.
Like, property-wise, stat-wise.
In fact, not Vampire Survivors, wrong game. That's a good game. V Rising, it straight up has a thing where like the center of your castle is, I think it's just called a castle heart, where you have to place this castle heart down, and it will. Then you can build out from that, but it will tell you like how much room you actually have around where you're placing it to build. So it'll be like you have 75% room around this. So essentially, you are looking for the best places where there is shitloads of room to build.
Yeah.
So more than likely, people are going to end up building in the exact same spot.
Yeah,
And
because
as
they
you
want
said,
100%.
yeah, castles are probably going to end up looking the exact same. Because
Yeah.
essentially, you just want your wall around and to be defended. That's
Yep.
basically what you're going for. So you're going to go to like the very border of your zone to do that.
Yeah.
Which the border is another problem. So you can only place down a certain amount of things to stretch the border until you upgrade your castle heart. So
I hate when that's the case, because then you make you have to either plan your entire layout for your base on the max upgrade, or you got to keep changing it every 5 seconds when you upgrade it.
Yeah, I will say one point in their favour. You can dismantle walls and you will get resources back. Depending how long they've been up, you'll get 100% back, or you'll get 75% back, or 50% back. I think it goes down as low as 25%. So you're always getting at least something back when you dismantle.
Yeah, that's not so bad then. If it's been there for a long time, it's like, well, now you want to change. Like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
But it definitely caps creativity when you can only have you can only build within 30 squares that you have to place down around this castle heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all I've been playing. We've fallen off of it. I don't know if I'm going to return to it. Or if I am, I might wait until 1.0.
Yeah. Fair enough. I didn't even know it wasn't in 1.0 yet. Where's it at? Do you know the version number for V-Rising?
I do not.
Version number. Let's take a look for Google and see what happens.
Some form of early access.
It's 1 day ago, V-Rising developer outlines what very special version 1.0 will include.
It's on 0.5.41669.
Yeah, so a lot they can do with it, basically, and they've got plans for how they want it to be in the end, so I think it's a good stage, at least now, to when they're getting feedback from people, they can start changing things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard to give it, like, the definitive judgment. I think waiting for 1 is probably the best at this stage.
Yeah.
They've got your money, like, they're already developing, there's no what you can do to help out any further than that. Just wait and see what happens.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, it's true.
Nice.
It's one of them. So,
Right.
I guess with that wrapped up, we take a trip out of what we've been playing Avenue and into Player's Choice Talk. Now, last week, gentlemen, I was selected once again to decide what game/movie to sit and watch. And I picked a very old game. I did say Nintendo 64, but it's also on PlayStation, so I wasn't too bothered about which platform. And that game was Sarge's Heroes. So, please, either one at a time or together and chaotically, tell me what you think.
So, Sarge's Heroes. You know how, some games stand the test of time?
Yep.
Yeah, this doesn't.
This is not one of them.
Nope. So at first, I played it on my PlayStation Classic because I figured, right, it's on multiple platforms. It's probably going to be the same. It can't be that different, can it? Turns out it is fairly different in some cases. So yeah, I started off on the PS1. I played the first 2 missions, I think I did, and I preferred how it controlled compared to the N64, but it still didn't control well. The frame rate was very low, very choppy. The render distance was equally bad.
Yes.
But the pre-rendered cinematics were just top notch. It had like the over the top voice acting and some like genuinely horrific scenes of like green soldiers tied up with magnifying glasses pointed at them, because obviously that would be the torture method for like plastic soldiers. But yeah, then I moved on to the N64 version, and don't know if you guys experienced this. Maybe I just should have changed the controls, but like the right stick for some reason made you crouch and prone and stand up. Like not pressing it in, but like flicking it down made you crouch. Flicking it down again made you prone, which I thought was a decision.
I would like to...
I used the keyboard, so I didn't get that.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
I would like to be totally honest on the whole matter. I loaded it up since, I said, play this game. Loaded it up. Remembered it from, obviously, my younger years. Got into the controls. Played for about half an hour. And it all just sort of came back to me as why on God's green earth did I even suggest this game? And I very swiftly turned it off.
There's a saying: never meet your childhood heroes.
Basically, it was it was crap. But like, I didn't even get past the tutorial area, which is what the very first bit was, and I didn't normally. I might be like, oh, I've got to at least try to get past the tutorial. That's like totally fair. But on this occasion, I was like, nope, do you know what? I am perfectly fine with leaving this as unresolved business.
Yeah.
I would like to formally apologise for inflicting that upon you guys. I feel I feel
you
like
had fond memories of it, so like...
I feel like I need to, but I also feel like I feel that bad about it. I feel I've done that bad by suggesting it. If I was like, I don't know, Prime Minister of the UK, I would have to resign. But
did you make it to the bathtub level?
No, I mean, like
No.
I said, I was going around in circles because the controls just kept messing with my head, and I was like, this isn't gonna... Then I just got so far, and I just thought to myself, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, the controls definitely left a lot to be desired. I don't even know how they would properly work, like with a controller. I don't think it'd do very well. The camera felt obnoxious because you'd play a move and things would be all weird, and then it'd pull back in. It's like I'm trying to get stuck behind things.
Yeah,
like I didn't like it at all. In that way, I think the only reason I would have probably liked it as a kid is because it was the Army Men.
Yeah.
But
so many Army Men games, like holy shit.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an original franchise idea.
Yeah, it's an experience though, at least.
Yeah, I will say I don't know if you guys experienced this, but the like auto aim was incredibly janky. Like there'd be a tan soldier running at me, but my gun would target somebody in the distance, and I couldn't tell if there was a way to like switch targets. I was pressing all the buttons and nothing was switching them, so I basically had to like do that.
Disengage the lock as well, like spin around so it unlocks from them, and just to kind of move back to the one that's running at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically had to do that thing where you run directly at somebody while shooting and just hope that it kills them.
Yeah, or kind of put them in between the path of the one that you're shooting at.
Yeah.
Workplace and stuff. Yeah, maybe in the past it would have been good, but it's hard to see with it being so old now how it would have been back then. Like especially because like in shooters back then, like I was used to N64 GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And that is something I can still go back to this day. And enjoy it. But this one, like, I don't think I could go back and enjoy it if I did experience it at the beginning.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up very well.
No.
It's aged like milk, left in the sun for about however many years have passed since its release. To the point where you just think to yourself, God, it makes you question life decisions, basically.
Yeah. There was some strange some strange changes between the N64 and the PS1 version, though. You know how on the first level, you run through that camp and then you have to, like, cross a bridge to find the major or whatever he is. For some reason on the PS1 version, there's, like, a helicopter shooting at you. It drops off 2 tan soldiers on the bridge, shoots at you as it's flying away. On the N64, that's completely not there. Also on the PS1, there's like there's that minefield directly afterwards, which when you cross it, you just continue on the PS1 version. But on the N64 version, there's like a tank going back and forth, which absolutely kept fucking me up, and I kept having to restart the level. But yeah, it's just like weird little changes like that I don't understand why. Obviously, the PS1 doesn't have as much power as the N64, so stuff like not starting inside that one building on the PS1 version. On the PS1 version, you start outside of that building because the building just isn't enterable. But on the N64 one, they've like rendered the inside, and you actually start next to the bed. It's just strange little changes like that. Obviously, I didn't play through the entire thing, so I don't know like how much else is different throughout. I played the first 2 levels, but yeah, it was interesting to see the differences. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
it's fair enough. Yeah.
It was definitely one of them games.
Yeah.
Glad never to go back to that ever again. But yeah, so I guess that concludes that horror story. Anyway, into the news! Coming at you live via the internet. Well, not live, but, you know, as close to live as we're going to get it. So, kicking off with the top of the agenda, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Fallen Order, has been announced. It has a trailer. I am excited, and I swear to God, I am going to be living on this hype train until it comes out, and I will die a happy man when I have played it.
Isn't it set like 5 years after the events of Fallen Order, right?
Not a clue.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe they've come out and said it's 5 years after.
What, have they actually said that now? When they first announced it, they didn't say that.
I read an article about it later.
Gosh, well, I'm learning something new then.
Yeah, I'm excited for it though. There's obviously like a lot of theories of like who was in the back tank at the end of the trailer and things like that, and it's like, oh, who's that thing? What's this thing? What's that thing? Like I don't know who that was, but yeah, I'm excited to play it. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm hoping that I'm hoping they don't fuck it up. That's all I can say. I hope they don't fuck it up.
I feel given Respawn's track record and how well they did with Fallen Order, I don't really have many concerns. Honestly.
Well, I've had too much history, too much of the past, man. I've seen too many good series. This balls it all up. I generally like the first one. I think introductions to a bit more new force powers, the new carrying on the story, maybe new like lightsaber combat, like combos and things and mechanics you can do, could be good. And that's all I would need. I won't
I
need
just
anything
want
else for
to
the place
be
the
able
same.
to romance everybody on my ship, including the droid.
Who was the one that like I genuinely thought in the first? Can we give spoilers for Fallen Order? We can talk about that.
It's been long enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck it.
I'm stampeded. Who was the alien chick that you ended up getting into the ship?
Merrin.
Marion. Let me Google it. Marion. Pretty sure it was. Yeah, I thought we were going to romance Marion. I genuinely thought it was going to happen.
If only.
It didn't happen, but like, I romance Marion, definitely. Yeah. Like, there was a whole thing with all the Night Sisters and stuff, and like eventually, like, oh, you do this, come with me, da da. Like, all these things, and she seemed like very open about everything, and like, talking to her once, like, you know, did she want to learn to become a Jedi? It's been a while. I think she wanted to go down that path. I think she
I
at
don't
least
remember
talked about
that.
it. I think it might have been mentioned, maybe hinted at or something, or maybe I was just wishful thinking.
Yeah, I would say because
True.
Merrin's focus was primarily like the Night Sisters.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly the motivation things, but it was probably just wishful thinking at the time. But still, like, that's definitely who I'd remember. Having that would be an interesting part, like pushing the story that way. If they felt necessary. It won't too bother me too much. Genuinely, if it wasn't in or not. It'd have to actually be tasteful and not forced or anything.
I wonder if
It's not going to be a Bioware game. You know?
Oh no. Those awkward fucking sex scenes where it's basically just two character models like rubbing faces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I kind of wonder if they're gonna kill the
Would you say married?
ship cast off. Like either off screen or near the start of the game.
Yeah, I was getting the feeling that that was gonna happen. That would happen. And also, let's point out at the very end of Fallen Order, old Lord Vader makes an appearance.
Of course he does.
So I'm just because he's turned up, and I know through the Star Wars story and lore that he plays a big part in like hunting down the remnants of the Jedi and like sort of stopping any uprisings or resurgences or, you know what I mean, resurrection of the Jedi Order. I feel like Vader is going to make an appearance again.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't know if they're making a trilogy or not, but I wonder if Cal will actually die in this game.
I mean, surely he has to die at some point.
He'll have to die at some point because he's not in any of the other extended lore or anything. So it's like, well, I don't know what happened to him, but I wonder if how that will go down. I'm interested
Although,
to see.
honestly, I would 100% be down for, like, if he survives and Disney decides to, like, bring him into one of the live-action movies or TV shows. Like, the actual voice actor, because obviously he looks
the mocap is
exactly like it.
Yeah.
I would be 100% down for that. I like Cameron Monaghan.
If he shows up in the Obi-Wan series.
God,
that'd be great.
That would be kind of mad.
No, I prefer him in something better.
Cameron Monaghan is the best.
It's cool.
Choice.
I like his performances.
And that's why I watched him in Gotham do the whole go from being a kid to becoming the Joker, and that was one. Even though they wouldn't let them call it the Joker, it was Warner Brothers. It was a whole like, you can't use the name Joker because we're using it for films. But he is the Joker.
So
basically, it was just like, he is the Joker. They even was like, he is the Joker, but we weren't allowed to call him the Joker, and we weren't allowed to give him green hair. He, in my eyes, and I'm sorry, move over anyone who's fans of any other Joker interpretations, I feel like he did like one of the most solid interpretations of that character.
I can never get into Gotham myself.
Yeah, I would have to actually watch the series. I've never watched any of it. So to me, it's Heath Ledger.
That's understandable. No, that's understandable because for me, Heath Ledger does come in a close second.
Yeah.
So, but like that's totally understandable.
But still, he speaks good standards for you to have watched both, and to say that Cal Kestis makes the best Joker.
Yeah.
It shows his good performances. No, the stuff I've seen him, I do like that. So I feel he'll nail his performance. I have no worries about that. There's just parts, obviously, where I don't like to do hype anymore because I've constantly been let down. It's easier just to go, we'll see, and just try be as indifferent as I can until it comes out.
Yeah.
Be excited about the announcements and everything. Like, excited about the whole, because we're on the topic of Star Wars, the remake of KOTOR. Be super excited, want to see it all. But be indifferent when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But definitely, yeah. So the trailer is out. Release date, it was like next year sometime, they were saying. And it's set 5 years from now.
A solid date.
Yeah, no solid date yet. I was looking for it while we were talking, but there's no yet.
And they've confirmed us to no surprise that it is PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC exclusive.
Yeah. It's next gen exclusive, isn't it? They were saying.
Yes, next gen and PC exclusive.
Yeah.
Which to be fair,
PC is just always that gen. It's always the top gen.
Well, yeah.
For power.
But we're at this point now where we are starting to see next gen exclusives come out.
Yeah, as this should.
Oh yeah, like it's no surprise to me at all that is how it's going. I mean,
yeah,
some of the stuff they want to put into games now, if they tried to put that into normal gaming, I genuinely believe that the console, once again, like I said previously about another game, I can't remember which, even though we've talked about it, would go nuclear.
Yeah.
It would, wouldn't end well. But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order to Survivor is Survivor, Jedi Survivor. Has a trailer, it's confirmed it's coming out next year, and can't wait.
5 years from 5 years. Be good, definitely.
Looking forward to seeing it. Definitely took me by surprise.
Yeah. It's one I'll probably pre-order it. I got it for my birthday, the first one, but I'll probably just pre-order this one just to show good support or something for it, depending.
Yeah. You know what would be nice? If it read your former save game and brought your lightsaber from the last game into it.
Yeah, because
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's always the thing with sequels. It's like, where's my upgrades gone?
Yeah.
Where's this gone? It's like,
that was the hilarious thing with the Arkham series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the next piece of news then.
Yes.
So, according to PlayStation Database, Stray has a release date of July 19th, 2022.
That's pretty soon.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I've been wanting that game since it was announced. That game, originally when it was announced, was literally, and it was advertised as a PlayStation 5 only game. And that was the game out of everything that made me say, fuck, I need a PS5.
Yeah. And it was such a shocking thing to see. Just a game of a cat.
It's beautiful.
And then you think about it, there's a surprising lack of games where you play as a cat.
Yeah. If any sort of animal, really.
Yeah.
The last time we had proper animal games was back in platformer days. The PS1s, N64s, things like that.
When there was a fucking surgence of animal protagonists like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Sly Cooper, etc.
Exactly, they started getting phased out in the PS2 era. You didn't really see them, but they were still kind of around, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing any in the PS3 and stuff, maybe one or two, but it's... Yeah, I remember when this got announced, there was such a hype over it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it was just a cinematic trailer, if I recall. But looking at it through even some gameplay and stuff now, I think it'd be really interesting if they keep it engaging as it goes through. I'm looking forward to it. It'd be really interesting to see how it goes.
Oh yeah.
The internet's a simple place though. If you give a cute cat, a little backpack, people are gonna eat that shit up.
Yeah. Then they put a cat
one of those people.
They put a cat into Miles Morales, and everyone was like, "I need to play this for the cat."
Hell yeah, that is a great skin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what made me be like, "Oh my god, I need this! Give this to me now!" It was like that meme of Fry from Futurama going, "Shut up and take my money."
Yes.
That was me all over. It was
nice one then. So to cap off that then, July 19th, 2022. That's the release date for Stray. But more to say when it comes out then.
I'm putting that on my calendar.
Hell yes.
Next piece of news that we have listed here. Pokemon Scarlet/Violet has a trailer, details, and a release date. Hell yeah. See, it's interesting because like I managed to play Sword and Shield here or anything. There's so many Pokemon games coming out all the time. Do we know anything like on the gens? Is it a completely new gen then of Pokemon? Do we know?
I have no idea. It has a fully open world that can be explored as players please. It has online play with 4 players, which is pretty cool. So you can like trade, battle, and explore, and different professors for each version.
Ooh. That's interesting.
Rest in peace, Oak.
Oak is the one true for me.
Yeah.
Never be able to replace Oak.
He's the OG.
Yeah. Like too much of the anime and too much of Pokemon Red and Blue.
Yeah.
Like in Yellow and the Pokemon Stadiums and all the rest of it. Too much to let go of Oak. I won't let it go. It's let go of your childhood at that point. It's let go of a piece of yourself. Can't do it. The release date for Pokemon Scarlet. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just about to say that.
Okay. Well, yes, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet release date is the 18th of November, 2022. Yes. Which is a lot sooner than I thought. Because the first time I'm hearing about it, Sword and Shield, I swear it was only 6 months ago when that came out.
Yeah.
But I mean, time flies by so quickly. It might not have been.
Yeah.
Hold on. When was Sword and Shield the last one? Let me take a look. Sword and Shield was 2019. It was 3 years ago.
Oh my god.
It was 3 years ago. A lot of things happened. I'm probably thinking of Pokemon Arceus as well because that was when did that one come out? That wasn't a bit ago. Yeah, that was 28th. That was 28th of January this year.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that and thinking of Sword and Shield. I'm going to say that to save face. But yeah, I'm interested in this Scarlet and Violet. Then I'm trying to find whether or not it's new. There are new Pokemon, so I guess they are coming to a new gen.
Right.
Because all the new Pokemon shown in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer, and it's saying meet Lechonk, Smoliv, and Pawmi. And they look kind of interesting. Where's this one?
Oh my god, Lechonk is like a pig. Okay, I'm into that.
Yeah. Pawmi is this cool. I guess it's a fire one. This is electric cheeks. Okay, you can start with an electric unless this is not the Stein ones. Smallville's a weird, crazy one.
How do the Pokemon generations get introduced? Because I'm so far behind. Like, I couldn't tell you a single Pokemon from any generation but the first. Did they get introduced in the games?
I'm
pretty sure they're coming first in the games.
The games of these days will get them. There's been a couple of instances where certain Pokemon have been introduced in the TCG first, the trading cards, and then there's been instances where they've had a preview of these new Pokemon in Pokemon Go. But it usually tends to go game, anime, TCG, Go.
Yeah.
Right. Like in that order, on average. So, yeah, I'd say the games are where the magic begins.
Yes, from what I can tell from the icons and pictures, it's going to be a new gen of Pokemon again. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There's some gens. I was Gen 1 fanatic, but it's going to be interesting. There's always some, every now and again, like my niece and nephews will show me, look at this Pokemon. I'm like, that one looks pretty cool, actually. And it's like a Gen 6 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, there's, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will introduce Generation 9.
Ah, there you go. So Generation 9, 18th of November of this year.
We're currently in Gen 8, it'll become a Gen 9. God, I remember the Gen 1 days.
Yeah.
It's all good times.
I like to go back every now and then, admittedly, and go through my Pokemon cards collection that I have. Especially the old Gen 1 ones. And even the modern sets, I do collect the modern sets as well. Because they're all nice. They're all nice to look at.
A Generation 1 even, like, relevant in the games and anime anymore? Like, do they still pop up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Gen 1 still pops up. They pop up everywhere in the
card packs and stuff.
In the cards, in the games, in Pokemon.
That's cool.
In Pokemon Go, at one point there was like what people were calling the Holy Grail of the Pokemon's getting Pokemon going. It was Mewtwo.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
the whole boss event.
when that happened, the world went nuts. But I could literally sit and do like a multiple part series talking about the early days of Pokemon Go. It was a beautiful place, and I have very fond memories of it.
I think it was the last time the
Tail
world
looks
made
like a
sense. Sorry, you were first, Nick.
Never mind.
No, what did you say? Genuinely, what did you say?
I said, don't you think his tail looks like a sex toy?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Now, what did you say?
I was saying Pokemon Go was probably one of the last times the world made sense.
It was the time when it first came out. It was
2016, wasn't it? Yeah.
it was that 2-month period where people
Oh my god, it was great.
got on with each other.
Everyone was going outside doing things. So many people outside everywhere. People crossing the borders illegally because they're trying to catch Pokemon. People walking into traffic, car accidents.
Oh yeah, it became.
There's a lot of bad stuff. But there was a lot of like great things. You could talk to nearly any single person out there, and every single person had heard of Pokemon Go, and they might have been playing it and things. It was great. Yeah.
Was that like old, I think it was Chinese or Japanese guy that like strapped 50 fucking phones to his bike? That was so good. That is fucking dedication. Also the dude that like set up an electric fence. Because there was like a Pokemon spawn point near his house or something.
Yeah, there was also some controversy when Pokemon Go came out, like different areas have different biomes in a way, and like different types of Pokemon will spawn.
Oh yeah,
And
when like you could only get a Taurus in Australia and stuff as well.
Yeah, look, they had regional exclusives, but they did also then have events where you could get them like in your own country. But what I'm referring to, and apologies to anyone, I don't know if this may trigger anyone, but it will. I will put a trigger warning in for the words Holocaust. Basically, what happened was, because it was all sort of like, it was based just on area and not specifically like what buildings occupied an area, so it was all done with like so it was all automated. Niantic had to go in and edit, sort of make an exception to this rule, from what I'd heard back in the day, and it later came out to be confirmed, because gas Pokemon like coughing and wheezing were spawning at Auschwitz.
Yes.
Oh lord.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was a report where this family played the concentration camp. It was a concentration camp. It's an awkward subject to talk about. I apologize.
It's funny, but it's not very funny.
Because it wasn't intentional. They just random spawned.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think about it.
Yeah, people did see the like awkward laughter side of it, like we just had. But what it was like, it sort of came to a prevalence when a group of people were playing Pokemon Go. First of all, why the fuck you play Pokemon Go at a site where it's meant to mark atrocities? And you should really be paying attention to learning. But however, they did. And they went into one of the gas chambers. They were on a tour, I think, and fucking loads of like wheezings and coughings fucking spawned.
Yeah, and then like, why are you going to be on your phone at that point? To have as much disrespect, in my opinion, at that point, and then be triggered about it.
But
my controversial opinion on the matter.
When they reported it, Niantic, to their credit, immediately was like, "Oh shit, that
shouldn't happen.
That it shouldn't happen. It's automated, but obviously now we know this is happening." We'll saw it, and they did so. Now it's I don't think anything spawns there now. It's just literally a dead zone for that thing, as it should be. Like, it's a very serious, real situation. But anyway, let's dial it back to. Let's steer course back to the agenda. I think.
Yeah, 18th of November 2022, that's the release date.
Mark your calendars, boys and girls, and everyone else who wants to play. Right, the PlayStation Plus lineup for June 2022 has been announced, and it is God of War 2018, a solid fucking game. Such a good game.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, I've never heard of. But
I think it's basically Super Smash Bros. But it's Nickelodeon characters.
And a game called Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker.
Another Naruto game.
I never get out of those.
I will not be playing that. All-Star Brawl might if I need a party game, I guess, for visitors. God of War, I'll definitely add to my collection because I gave my disc copy away when I got rid of my PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I highly recommend God of War. I wasn't as into it as everyone else seemed to be, but it's still like a solid game.
Yeah.
And now's a good time to pick it up and play it because Ragnarok is definitely around the corner, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel that's why they've added it to PS Plus.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I've never owned a PS4, so I never got to play God of War. But I watched a full playthrough of it and stuff. It was good. It was definitely worthwhile watching. I feel like I got bored with the gameplay after a bit, but it's kind of the same. But it was still really good, and I'm excited for Ragnarok as well coming later. It's cool that it's PlayStation Plus because it gives the people opportunity to play God of War, and they get into Ragnarok.
Yeah, 100%.
And then start buying that. So it's a good marketing thing to do, you know. Yeah.
The axe throwing was very satisfying, though. Like, just throwing the axe, then having it returned to you.
The thud, the weight. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so it's interesting. I think it's more of a marketing move why they're bringing God of War. But, yeah. Very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not entirely satisfied with this lineup because, I mean, obviously I play a lot of games on PlayStation and I've played God of War. I don't care about the other two. But it feels like PS Plus has kind of always been like that.
Lackluster.
Like, the good months are very few and far between. But if you're just getting like a PS5 now, God of War is solid.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah, and definitely it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah.
Definitely worth trying.
Yeah.
Alright then.
Right, so I'm going to ask this out loud, guys. Do you want to do you want to drop the last bit, or do you want to go through the quick fire first?
We'll drop the last bit. It's relevant. It's what everyone's been talking about for so goddamn long. It's finally hit a conclusion.
Yeah.
And that is Johnny Depp wins his defamation case against Amber Heard.
Yes.
All the articles are like 3 hours ago, an hour ago, 50 minutes ago, 60 minutes ago.
Yes.
Johnny actor humbled by court win. Things like that. It's something I mentioned, I think, on one of the podcasts we mentioned Johnny Depp at one point, I think. It could have been outside of that. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see, like, from what I've been seeing of it, you know, a win's a win, and trusting the court system, trusting the justice system, this is where it is. And I'm hoping that things can start getting back on track for him because of that, because there was so much crap that happened to him because of all this stuff.
Yeah.
That it's good to see. It's good to see this happen. A lot of people will be happy about that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hope to see you back on screen soon, Johnny. We miss you. And congratulations on winning your case.
Yes. Definitely.
But yes. So, now.
Alright. On to the quick fire.
On to the quick fire, rapid fire news. Take it away, Nick!
Who Nick said he would be right back. So.
Did he? Damn!
Yes, he wrote it in the survey. You didn't see.
Oh, God.
So Nick quickly got called away. In that case, I will carry on. There's a new Indiana Jones movie. It's directed by James Mangold. It's coming out in 2023, and it's currently untitled. I'm hoping it's not going to be like the Crystal Skull situation again, but there's probably good potential for that.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
Next piece. The Mandalorian is getting a third season in February 2023. Excited about that. I need to actually watch more of it.
You do.
But it was a very good series. It did a lot for Star Wars. I saw a lot of people start watching Mandalorian. Someone I know personally started watching Mandalorian first. Thought it was interesting as like a piece of Star Wars to get into, and then they've watched all the movies. They watched everything.
Yes.
So it's worthwhile getting a third season. There's a lot of work that's gone into it. Very interested to see how it goes. Next piece of quickfire news. At least 10 PlayStation IPs coming to TV and movies.
Woo!
Such that are Uncharted, The Last of Us, Twisted Metal, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, Gran Turismo, and God of War are the confirmed ones. What did you say, Nick?
Speak of the devil.
Aye.
The devil, the man returns.
Exactly. Uncharted
Okay.
never made a movie of. Last of Us, I've seen many pictures of that, so it's interesting to see. Horizon could be cool if they get some good special effects. And Ghost of Tsushima's, or Tsushima, I can't remember how it's pronounced,
Yeah.
is definitely a good one.
Yes.
I love the Japanese culture, so that'd be cool to see.
Oh, yes. Now, let's try this again. Take 2 for the last remaining bits of quick fire news. Take it away, Nick!
Okay. Also, we have Assassin's Creed Origins has a current gen patch as of yesterday. Well, it'll be tomorrow as we're recording this, but yesterday as of when it comes out. And finally, a bit of sad news, unfortunately. Ray Liotta, the voice of Tommy Vercetti, and also he was in Goodfellas, I believe it was. He passed away on the 26th of May, 2022. His voice is very much ingrained in my head because of Tommy Vercetti. The amount of Vice City that I played was ungodly. And that's very sad.
Yes.
Definitely.
So rest in peace, Ray Liotta.
Aye, rest in peace, Ray.
Yes.
Right, let's...
That's all the quick fire news. That's all the news altogether, isn't it?
It's
Let's on to
not a
the
big week
couple
for
of
news.
final things then.
Yep, we have new/upcoming games, movies, TV shows, D&D books, whatever. Also reviews of new games, movies, TV shows, D&D books, whatever. And Sam, I think I'll let you kick this off because I think you enjoyed this more than I did.
Yes, I actually did watch. I had the privilege of watching the third episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi again. So, again, I know we spoke privately on opinions, but also, my opinions have somewhat shifted in some areas, but not a lot.
Let's preface this by saying
no spoilers.
Spoiler free.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about spoilers.
There's no
exactly.
spoilers. So what I will say is, overall, it's kind of fitting that kind of an estimated trajectory of how the season seems to be going. It's following what seems to be a pretty simple path beat for beat. Almost like playing it safe. Which I kind of understand. Especially when it's an iconic character such as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, I understand they're going to play it safe. But it would be nice to see a bit of risk as well, and a bit of unpredictability.
Yeah.
So far, sadly, this week's episode, it felt quite predictable.
Oh, yes.
And there were some parts that made zero sense. Like, it was like, oh, why did, like, XYZ happen when they could have just done ABC instead? But there was also certain elements as well in that episode. There were certain scenes and certain elements with particular characters, not naming any, where I actually was like, oh, I've not seen this side of this character before. But then in the context of it, when you link it to future performances in other areas, like the movies, just to preface people, this is set in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Is this series, and it follows Obi-Wan Kenobi in them years that he was hiding out and sort of being the guardian angel watching over Luke and Leia. So it's like his story, and with his story comes enemies old and new. And there was just bits where, like I said, there were bits where I was like, oh shit, I've not seen this side of this character before. But I've also seeing literally what's meant to be like a few years later in the story arc, and you see him in a different way, you're like, yeah, this is quite jarring. And especially connected in between when there's films like Rogue One, and it's sort of even filling the gaps in even closer. It's almost like a day and night comparison.
Yeah.
Like, there was certain bits in this episode where I was like, fucking hell, this is dark. And then there's also bits where I was like, fucking hell, it's dark because I can't see shit.
Yep, I had that quite a bit.
So it was weird. But I'm holding hope. I find it normal for season start for her to have. I'll call it a mid-season. There's only 6 episodes in this to have a midpoint slump, and sometimes they pick up and they just rock it, and sometimes they don't. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes with each week that passes and each episode that is broadcast. But if I had to give it a rating out of 10 this week's episode, I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
It's lower than I expected.
Not great, but not bad.
Fair enough.
Not bad. But yeah, I mean, what did you think, Nick?
So I've made it pretty obvious to you guys, and I think on this podcast, that I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Oh yeah,
I think Star Wars makes better games than it ever did movies.
yes.
And yeah, this has just kind of solidified my opinion
Yeah,
in that way, for me personally.
yeah,
There's a lot of predictability, dumb decisions, weird filmmaking decisions, which isn't exclusive to this. It's always the issue of like dark scenes are stupidly dark
yeah,
to the point even if there's a slight bit of sun glare, you cannot see shit
yeah,
unless you're like editing your TV settings or whatever.
yes.
And yeah, there was just a lot of dumb decisions all around in especially in the 3rd episode,
Yes.
I found. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than mirroring what you said. I think I'm done with it after this 3rd episode, though.
Yeah.
Not interested in carrying on,
Oh,
personally.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable.
And I suppose if we're rating it 3 stars,
Yeah,
Fair enough.
that's fair.
I don't know who I would recommend this to, put it that way. Like, the characters don't feel like the characters that we knew in the prequels, if there were even actually fans of the prequels. So I don't feel like I can suggest it to those people. I can't suggest it to old-time Star Wars fans because they don't seem to like new Star Wars, which this very much feels like new Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like... Star Wars has always had the problem where there's all this fancy technology, even though in like stuff that takes place before the original trilogy, even though it doesn't appear in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
It has a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
It's without giving a I can say this safely without any spoilers, because anything in my eyes that's denying promotion material and is being widely advertised, I don't consider it a spoiler. It has solidified in my own head an argument for a Vader series. That's just my opinion. Like, I might be saying it because I'm a massive fan of Vader, but it's kind of it's solidified for me anyway. Probably maybe to have the need for something facing like maybe one of them characters instead of like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, we've not had in any Star Wars really an actual proper like Sith story.
Yeah.
We had a bit of the animated Clone Wars where they looked at Darth Maul for a bit. I know some of his stuff.
Oh, they were amazing,
But it's
them episodes.
nice in any of the animated Clone Wars. But it's having something like where Vader comes in, such an iconic villain who's probably the most iconic villain of any form of media that we've had. I think he was rated number 1 even at one point from a lot of other things. And having a series like that, like we saw a bit of obviously Revenge of the Sith, how he turns, there's this huge gap between it where we see him become this wrecking force that he does in like Rogue One. And it's fine to talk about Rogue One because it's so old now.
Yes.
So having that come through, it's such to see the change a bit more. We saw this like in Revenge of the Sith. We saw this anger-fueled, really cocky, arrogant child still.
Yeah.
Think he was the biggest, baddest thing on the planet, and then lost because of his arrogance and overconfidence, thinking that and it fits into the character of thinking he was a master and thinking that he was worthy of such a title, when he's inexperienced that everyone saw him have, and that's why he wasn't given master. Shone through, and he gained this thought of power and this imagination. So we had all these other parts that fit the character really well. But it fits to the point where he just became and he lost Padme, where he then changed into this. But I want to see that struggle.
Yeah.
I want to see this struggle where he becomes more of this force and more of this thing, and how they explain what happened with Padme and then the possible kids and all this other stuff, and him go through this journey to make him more and more beat down to become the unrecognizable Darth Vader from how it was with Anakin.
Yes.
In between the characters. Because that was the thing we had in Revenge of the Sith, the halfway point of Anakin and Vader, where he was still classed as Vader, but he wasn't really Vader. It was still Anakin and still a very young child. Versus Vader knew what he could handle and would back off when he didn't. And we saw that in A New Hope. So it would be cool. I agree on that. I'd never thought about it. I'd never thought about it. To have a Vader series, but I think that would be really cool because you can explore the Sith element. You can explore more what the Emperor is doing, the political power structure of other parts, because we had the whole thing of it became the Galactic Empire.
Yeah.
But who stands against that besides the Rebels? How more of the Rebels being formed through it all, and other parts that they could start exploring with it and push through the Vader series and humanizing them a bit better than the prequels did.
Yes.
For people. I grew up with the prequels, so I like the prequels.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But it's because I grew up with them. It's fine.
It's fair enough.
But it's not but they could do a better job humanizing him a bit more.
Yeah.
And and maybe even take him from being the human and turn him into this killing machine.
Yes.
To make it where when Old Ben Kenobi in A New Hope turns, I think he says, or in maybe not A New Hope, but maybe it was Empire Strikes Back. But it's more machine now than man.
Yes.
And you could mean that in a literal sense, obviously, is what we saw it as.
Yes.
But really make it in an emotional sense.
Oh, yeah.
Make it in an emotional, mental sense that he is now just a destruction machine that made him in the extended universe.
Yes.
What all rebels feared. This great myth that would go through and slaughter everything.
Yes.
Like he did in Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
Bridge that gap. That'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I ain't seen anything of Obi-Wan, obviously. I'd be able to give my opinions when I do watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame that it seems like it's been rated so low. I want it to be good, but I'll give my own opinion when I watch it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I will be happy to hear it when you do watch it. It'd be nice to hear. So we're now coming to what we like to call the finale, the crescendo of the podcast.
Aye.
Which is the player's choice, where we roll a dice. We have a number assigned to our names, and whatever number comes up on that dice, that person will choose a movie, TV show, anime, or video game that we will all watch or play. So, I'm going to roll the dice now for you all, and the result this week is... Martin, this dice fucking hates you.
It is yet again another week where I am not chosen. The winner is Nick.
Nick!
Right, fellas. I've thought long and hard about this.
Okay.
We're going to play Resident Evil 6 beginning to end.
Hell yeah, I'm down. I know you're joking, but I'm down.
I would like to announce my resignation from the podcast.
No, what I actually want people to play
Go on.
is... See, this has been a toss-up. I've been thinking about this all fucking week. So I wanted us to play an MMO.
Okay.
And there are 3 MMOs that I am very into
Okay.
that I've been struggling to decide between.
Okay.
Ooh, give me the names.
There
Give me the names.
is City of Heroes,
Okay.
which is a superhero MMO, very old school.
Did that
There
shut
is
down?
World of Warcraft,
Hmm.
which I think you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there is Guild Wars 2.
Ooh, I own that.
It's also free to play now, which is good.
Is it? Oh, fucking I had to buy the thing. long
But
time.
since you have mentioned that you own it, I'm going to cancel that one out. So that helps. Thank you. So I think I'm going to get you guys to play World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Sam has very briefly played it, but what I want our objective to be, as it were, excuse me, I want us to do a dungeon.
Okay.
So a dungeon is where you gather a party of people together, which is going to include us 3, and you've got your tank, you've got your healer, and you've got 3 DPS, and you go through a linear dungeon, funnily enough, with bosses scattered throughout with good loot. Kill the final boss, maybe there's some quests in there, and that's what I want us to get to. Now,
Okay.
leveling in World of Warcraft isn't exactly super quick,
Okay.
and depending on the faction that we choose, depends on how early we can get into a dungeon.
Okay.
So the Alliance, for example, their dungeon is at about level 16, 17-ish.
Okay.
Whereas the Horde, the evil guys, their lowest is like 13.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want us to get to the appropriate level and finish a dungeon.
Okay.
Which might take anywhere from like 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So it might be a case of progress reports
Yes.
as we do like other players' choice stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so this week
If you guys are down with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Quick question, 2 questions.
Hit me.
Can I romance people in the game?
You can romance me.
And me.
Okay, that's acceptable. And which faction is Sylvanas Windrunner part of?
She's the
Black
Horde.
Lady? The Horde? Can we join the Horde then? I want to romance her.
I think
I
we'll
would
talk
so
about
love
this off podcast,
Yes.
and we'll make a decision there. Because
Yes.
so
This will discuss obviously making a good character that we're actually willing to play in factions and the choices of which class.
so not every class can be. Oh, sorry, not every race can be every class,
Oh, okay.
and each race has their own starting zone. Some are shared. So like the dwarf and the gnome, they share a starting zone. The trolls and the orcs share a starting zone.
Okay.
So, depending on which race we choose, which we want to play, we might have to do a bit of a marathon to get to each other. Ideally, we'll find a way to want to play the same race, though, so we don't have to piss around doing that.
Same race get close, or at least like a town over or something, like someone close.
Yeah.
If they're close, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, okay, we'll discuss it all outside of the podcast then.
Yeah.
Yes. Specifically,
we'll
we'll be playing WoW Classic. I should put that out there. It's not going to be retail WoW. Not interested in that personally.
WoW Classic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start the downloads then soon.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get that all set up nicely.
Yes.
And
that's
And that's the podcast.
That is the podcast.
Right. Well, since we're all stealing each other's lines, that is a podcast. But that just leads me to do a thing at the end of these podcasts. I get incredibly thirsty, so you know what's coming. Barkeep!
Let's get